करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम।
करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम।
करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम। प्रभु श्री राम।
करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम।
करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम।
दशरथ नंदन संत जन रंजन।
दशरथ नंदन सत जन रंजन।
दशरथ नंदन संत जन रंजन।
दशरथ नंदन सत जन रंजन।
संत जन रंजन।
सत
संत जन रंजन। दशरथ नंदन संत जन रंजन। माया प्रेरक मुक्ति प्रदायक। माया प्रेरक मुक्ति प्रदायक। प्रदायक करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम। करुणा निधान प्रभु श्री राम। जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय सिया राम। जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय सिया राम। जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय सिया राम। जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय सिया राम। जय जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम जय सिया राम। जय जय राम जय सिया राम। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। वर्णानामर्थ संज्ञानां रसानां छन्दसामपि मंगलानां च कर्तारौ वन्दे वाणी विनायकौ। भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ। याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। वन्दे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरुं शङ्कररूपिणम्। यमाश्रितो हि वक्रोऽपि चन्द्र सर्वत्र वन्द्यते। सीतारामगुणग्राम पुण्यारण्यविहारिणौ वन्दे विशुद्धविज्ञानौ कवीश्वर कपीश्वरौ। उद्भवस्थितिसंहार कारिणीं क्लेशहारिणीं सर्वश्रेयस्करीं सीतां नतोऽहं रामवल्लभाम्। यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः। यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवां भूते स्थितिर्षावतां। वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिं। नानापुराणनिगमागमसम्मतं यद् रामायणे निगदितं क्वचिदन्यथोऽपि। स्वान्तसुखाय तुलसीरघुनाथ गाथा भाषानिबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति। भाषानिबन्धमतिमञ्जुलमातनोति। हरि ओम्। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोपाल कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोपाल कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। राधा रमन हरि ओम। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। राधा रमन हरि गोपाल कृष्ण हरि गोविंद कृष्ण हरि गोपाल कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोविंद कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोपाल कृष्ण हरि ओम। गोपाल कृष्ण हरि ओम। कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। Okay, so we're seeing now maybe fourth day, yeah, of women in the Ramayana. Well, here is a episode that comes in Kishkindha Kand. Who lived in a cave, who is the only female ascetic in Ramayana, who was an ascetic from birth, who is self-luminous, who represents the guru that gives guidance to the disciple to get mukti. Who is? You're supposed to say the name. Who is Swami Prabha. Now, her story doesn't come so often and all, but now we'll see today. I mean, you don't hear people talking about Swami Prabha, but one of the reasons is Swami Prabha represents the guru that gives Atma Gyan. And today we'll see that. Now, what is Atma Gyan? Let me spend a little bit of time to give you a little. Today is about Vedanta. The stories will be there, don't get worried. But this is about Vedanta. And in Vedanta, the first simple point is what? All of us are experiencing sorrows, joys and sorrows, of course, both, right? Joys and sorrows in our life daily. So 1 minute joy, 1 minute. Kabhi dhoop, kabhi chha. You know the bhajan, majja nahi hai? How it starts? दूसरों का दुखड़ा. That one? Sukh dukh dono. Then I don't know. Who will sing? You sing? You don't know. Sukh dukh dono. I mean, the two things are there. Kabhi dhoop to kabhi chhav. That line I remember. So there's joy and sorrow in life. And kabhi dhoop means sometimes bright sun, sometimes dark. Pairs of opposites. This is what he is trying to tell. Now, what is the problem with that? No problem. What problem? Well, big problem. Because human being only wants the sukh. He doesn't want the dukh. But you cannot have roses without thorns. Just now, by genetic modification, you might have. So then we'll have to revert back to the original. Right? What is the original? You cannot have sukha without dukkha. That they cannot genetically modify. You can modify genetically roses without thorns and all, but sukha without dukkha, that is not possible. Not in this jagat. Not in any jagat. People say you go to Indralok, go to Swarga, there Indra is the king and this and that. You read Puranas, you will see. That is the most miserable creature that Indra fellow. He is always in some trouble. Always getting this sharp and doing that wrong thing and getting karma. So, the first point in Vedanta is we have sukha and dukkha, and a human being only likes sukha. He doesn't like dukkha. Okay. All right. Second thing, no matter how much he tries to get rid of this dukkha, it is like you trying to get rid of one side of the coin. If one side of the coin is head and one side is tails, right? And suppose you don't like tails, so you go and you rub it off. You take a grinder and you grind out the tails. The coin will still have two sides or not? One side will call head, the other side blank. But a coin cannot have one side, no matter what you do, isn't it? Once you have a coin, it must have two sides. Once you have sukha, and this is no if and but and all that, you must have dukkha. And he tries everything to get rid of this dukkha, but he gets himself into more dukkha. This is a human being, this is human life. So, under these circumstances, the scriptures only prescribe one thing, that thing called mukti. Mukti means you have to leave both dukkha and sukha. You cannot take one. No chance of taking one. You cook a roti with one side now. You try. You can't cook a roti with one side. You could cook with many sides like paratha. But not one side. So, mukti is the thing prescribed by the scriptures. So we come out of this cycle, come out of birth and death, again pair of opposites, which nobody likes. Birth is okay, everybody celebrate. Death, everybody weep and cry. You see? So, mukti is coming out from both. We have to relinquish both. Sukha, dukkha, birth, death, all the pairs of opposites. And this Swayam Prabha Katha, which comes in Kishkinda Kand, this is in Valmiki Ramayana also, Tulsidaji, even though it is not a big Katha, Tulsidaji, though he leaves out many things from Valmiki Ramayana, he did not leave out the Swayam Prabha, because it represents the teaching of Vedanta, and we'll see that today. Now, as I am talking, you try to see if you could figure out how it represents Vedanta. Now, let me tell you this. Let us chant this chopai and then we'll see. This is just before number 24 in Kishkindaka. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Girite utari pavan sut aava. Sabhu kahle soy dibar dekhawa. आगे के हनुमंत ही लीन्हा, बैठे विवर अम्बुन कीन्हा, श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, जय रघुराम, जय सीताराम, Hanuman ji and his little entourage, they were sent in the southerly direction in search of Sita ji. This whole story you know. And at some point in that forest, they became totally exhausted, hungry, thirsty, and also lost. So Hanumanji climbed up on a mountain to look, to see in which direction we should go, and also to see if there is any lake or pond or something, because in big deep jungle you don't find food to eat also, and you don't find water to drink. So he climbed up, and it is said, here just detail doesn't come, but he saw some birds flying. And with such a keen sight he had also, he saw water drip from the beak of a bird. Water dripped down from the beak of a bird. And he realized that that bird had just flown out from a lake somewhere after drinking water. Or maybe the wings were still wet or something, because they are water birds. And maybe there is water there. So he came down from the mountain, Girite Utari, Pavanasuta Ava, and he came back to the other monkeys and bears who were there. Jamwant was there. Sab kahu lay soi vivara dekhawa, and aage ke Hanumanta hi leena. He took all of them in that direction, and then they came and they saw there was a big cave in front of them. Now when they looked, all they could see is darkness in that cave. And all the monkeys went and peeped in, right? And all they saw was darkness. And then they pulled back their head and they pushed Hanumanji in front. you go see what is there inside. And they now behind, was creeping behind Hanumanji. Then, Paithe Vivara Bilambuna Kinha. Before long, they were deep inside of this cave. But then, now caves are usually dark, But this was an amazing cave. Now see in this Duha. Now remember, they are thirsty, tired, lost, everything. Hungry. Now inside this cave, what they see? Doha. No. देख जाए उपवन बर सरगिरि सित बहु कंज राम कर विगसित बहु कंज मंदिर एक रुचिर तहा बैठी नारी तप पुंज सिया पर रामचंद्र की जय शरणम मन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय शरणम. Dikh jai. Now inside of a cave, how you can see, Gufa. Place is supposed to be dark, but what they saw in there, Dikh Jai Upavan. Bara Upavan means a most beautiful garden inside the cave. Then Sar, a lake. Bigasita Bahu Kanj. And in that lake were countless blossoming lotuses inside the cave. Then Mandir Ek. Mandir was there. Actually, Mandir also in this Ramayana means palace. Palace, one meaning of Mandir. Then Ruchira. Saha, Baithi, and then sitting there was Nari Tapapunja, the very embodiment of austerity in the form of a woman. Austerity incarnate. Asceticism incarnate. Sitting there in the form of a woman. They were thinking in their mind, what is this? Inside a cave? And then now when they walked so far inside, it was all bright and everything. And things were growing inside of there. Imagine how the plants got sunlight and everything. But things were growing. Like as a magical cave. Magical cave it was. Then Tulsidas ji describes for that is thing. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Tani Sabani Sirunawa Shri Ram Puche Nij Vedant Sunawa Tab ka karahu jal pana kahu suras sundar halnana भजन कीन मधुर फल खाए तासु निकट पुनि सब चली आए Ramachandra ki jai. Tulsidas ji doesn't tell her name. What is the description given? Naritapa Punja Baithi. Sitting there was a lady who looked like the very embodiment of all austerities. Tapas. Durite, from far, Hanumanji. Tahi Savani Sirunava. Hanumanji and all the rest of them from distance. We better don't go close and disturb her, Because if she is the very embodiment of tapas, austerities and all, she will have powers. Maybe she'll just raise her hand and all will be dead. something. So from far, all of them, they bowed down their heads. Durite. Then, Puche, Nija Vrittanta Sunawa. And then she asked from the distance also. Tell your story, what is it? Who are you all? Where you came from? Why you came here? Did that, she asked. Vrittanta means your tale. Tell the story. Like that. Then, Tehi Sab Kaha Karahu Jala Pana. When she asked, they told Sunawa, and then she told, now you all go there and eat fruits and drink. She pointed to them, all monkeys, and they all went there and they ate. But they were actually, now see, important thing, Hanumanji, here he doesn't tell, we are hungry. We are in search of Sita Ji, that story they told. But she said, you go and eat. She knew. Actually, she just making them tell the story, but she already knew all the story. But she's making them tell. Go and eat jalapana and drink. Kahu surasa sundara phala nana, and they ate their belly full with all sweet, nice fruits and all that. Then Majjanukina madhura phala khaye, and then taking a dip also in the lake there and everything, and eating and drinking and having their belly filled up. Then tasu nikatapuni sab chali aaye, they all came close to her. They came close to her now only after that. Because if she gave us food to eat, I don't think she would do anything to it, They were thinking like that. So they came close now. Otherwise, before that, they were not coming close. Then he describes, continues. Te sab aapani katha sunai. मैं अब जाब जहाँ रघुराई। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम। जय जय राम। Tulsidas actually is very good at these things, She found out who they are and what they are doing and everything. She asked and they told. And in her case now, they of course, they will be curious, who are you? Tulsidas ji tells, in quarter chopai. He says, and he doesn't tell who she is. Listen to Tulsidas ji's line. Tehi sab aapani katha sunai. Tulsidas ji said, she told her whole story, and that is it. She told her whole story to them. Main ab jab jahan raghurai. Now I am going where Bhagwan Ram is there. She told them. So she told her whole story, and then, so the whole story is not given here. So the whole story is given in Valmiki Ramayana. Tulsidas ji doesn't write the whole story. Tulsidas ji said, why you want me to tell the whole story? Go there and read it. You go there in Valmiki Ramayana and see the whole story is there. So what happened? I should tell you the story now, na? I know all you like to hear story. Don't mind all is so big. This cave in which they are, in all of them now, this cave was built by Mayadanav. Who is Mayadanav? Last night only I told you who is Mayadanav. Or the night before. Yeah, you see, always forget fast. Mayadanav was the father of Mandodari. And who was the mother? Hema. Hema was the mother. So, this cave was built by Maya Danav. And Maya Danav was the son of Vishwakarma. He is the architect of the heavens. I told you that, no? And besides that, because he was Danav, he had a lot of magical powers. So he could make a magical cave, which the entrance of which is dark, and when you go inside, there is a palace. And the description in Valmiki Ramayana is elaborate. And there are jewel-studded pillars and beautiful lakes with swans and lotuses, and a long description is given. Inside is like a heaven. So Maya Danav had fashioned this. For who? For he and his wife Hema. So they had 3 children. So the 3 children get married, and no, all of them didn't get married. Mandodari get married, then gone there by Ravan. And this Bali killed the next 2. You remember? That is Dundhuvi and Mayavi. Bali killed the 2 of them. That story we saw on the previous day. Anyway, this now Maya Danav and his wife Hema, they were staying in this magical cave. But this Swayam Prabha was a good friend of this Hema. So something happened now. What happened? There was an Apsara by the name of Rambha. Rambha name, you know? Apsara by the name of Rambha. And this Apsara was in love with a Danav by the name of Nalakubara. So Rambha was in love with this Nalakubara. But Indra was in love with Rambha. Here comes Indra again. This Rambha wants to marry this Nalakubara. But Indra does not like that. So Indra gives Indra kills this Nalakubara, and because this Swayam Prabha had facilitated the meeting, because she was, I forgot to tell you one piece of information. She was the handmaid of the Rambha. Swayam Prabha, as a little girl, became the handmaid of Rambha. And it is Swayam Prabha who had facilitated the meeting of Rambha and Nalakubara. So Indra gave a sharp to this Swayam Prabha for doing that, because Indra did not want this Rambha to meet this Nalakubara. So he gave a sharp to Swayam Prabha. What sharp? That you will live alone, all by yourself. But she was also a friend of Hema. Now Indra also had some great big fight with Maya Danav. He killed Maya Danav also. Now so Hema became widow. And they were living in this most amazing cave. Now she did not want to live there alone. And Indra gave curse to the Swayam Prabha to live alone. But the curse to Swayam Prabha was really no curse, because it is said in Valmiki Ramayana, they only, from birth, this Swayam Prabha was ascetic in nature. Living alone was very natural to her. Nothing. It was nothing. Indra thought what Indra thought was a curse was really a blessings to her. Hema then gave this cave to Swayam Prabha. You come and stay here. Indra gave sharp and all. You live alone, you come and stay in this cave. And at the same time, when Indra gave the curse, he also said, but one day, some monkeys will come looking for Sita ji. That time the curse will be lifted to Swayam Prabha. And so now these monkeys came. So Swayam Prabha had already known all the story, what was going to happen. And when she saw the monkeys, but she just asked them so that they can tell their story. So like this now, they came, and Tulsidas, she only writes, what is that? He only writes that she told her story. Apani katha sunai. She told her story. But this is the story. The whole big story of I was given sharp by this Indra and this and that to live alone and all such things. And it's Indra who killed this Mayadana and made Hema widow, and she told the entire story. And she said, Indra also said that when the monkeys come, that time I will go and meet Bhagavan Shri Ram and I will return to Swarga. Return to Swarga. So she tells now, the whole story ends right there. Main ab jab jahan raghurai. Now I am going to where Bhagavan Ram is. She tells them. So after telling the whole story like that, right? But before leaving to go to Bhagavan Shri Ram to get his blessings and return to Swarga, she does a really nice thing. And this is really the highlight of the whole katha hai. See now. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. Mud hunayan be बरत जिजाहू तैहु सीत जनि पछिताहू श्री राम जय राम नयन मूदी पुनि देखहि बीरा ठारे सकल सिंधु के तीरा श्री राम जय राम बोलो राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राजा राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राम 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 सीता राम 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 बोलो राम 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 सीता श्यावर रामचंद्र की जय. Murahu Nayan, she tells to all the monkeys now. They are lost, they don't know where they are, And now this is a magical cave also. She tells all the monkeys, now you close your eyes. All of them close their eyes. 2 eyes. Otherwise some people leave their eye open to see what she's doing. Close your eyes. All of them close their eyes. Vivarataji, now don't think of this cave anymore. Pehu Sitahi, and she told, you will find Sita. You all will find Sita. Don't worry. Jani Pachitahu. And don't regret coming here and all of this, like that. Okay. Then, Nayanamuri Puni, Mudi Puni, Dekhahi Bira. And then they close their eyes, and then after a few moments they open. She said after a few moments you open your eyes. And all of them open their eyes after a few moments. And then what? Thare sakala sindhu ke tira. They found that all of them were standing on the southern shores of India, right on the ocean side. They were all standing. And Sampati, now that Sampati story starts, Sampati was there looking at them. So they found themselves at the edge of the ocean, from the middle of the jungle. So this Swayamprabha had magical powers also. Somebody asked, why she didn't transport or teleport them all the way to Lanka where Sitaji was there? She should have teleported them there one time. Why is edge of the ocean? But you can come up with many reasons why for that. Why she didn't transport them all straight to Lanka one time. You see, Hanumanji was given the duty by Bhagavan Sri Ram to go and find Sitaji. Then Hanumanji also would not have been, if she had transported him straight to Lanka, then Hanumanji, then he would have done nothing to find Sita. So there is one reason why you can think. Second thing is, and actually many pressing reasons, but things are there. If suddenly in Lanka people see a band of monkeys appear, and the Rakshasas, the first thing would be to attack. Then also it made Ravan suspicious. Where suddenly all these monkeys came from. And Ravan may have also figured out it was done by this Swayam Prabha. Because remember, Swayam Prabha is friend of his mother-in-law. And he knew her. He knew all about that cave and everything. Ravan had known. So anyway, there are many reasons you can come up with. But he transported them to the edge of she transported them to the edge of the ocean. Now, I told you, this is all Vedanta. Then you think, what Vedanta is there? All this story is Vedanta? Now you see this, Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. You have heard now? So first let me tell you the meaning of this prayer, because we chant quite often. Asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. And ma there doesn't mean ma like mother. Ma is mother in Hindi. This is not Hindi. This is Sanskrit. Ma means me. Me. In this prayer, ma means me, mom. Ma and mom. See, in Sanskrit, the word for me is mam, M-A-M, mom. And that is the word for me. And the shortened form of that in Sanskrit only is ma. So in many places it will come ma only. So asatoma sadgamaya. From asat lead me, from the unreal lead me to real. From unreal lead me to real. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. From darkness lead me to light. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. From death lead me to immortality. So, how this katha is connected to this? We'll see. First one, from the unreal, lead me to the real. In the end of this katha in Valmiki Ramayana, Tulsidaji doesn't give the ending, all details. At the end of the katha, when all the monkeys disappeared from here and they found themselves at the edge of the ocean, Swayam Prabha also disappeared and that cave also disappeared. Everything. That is why today, on all the tours, when you go to India, there is no such place to visit. The cave also, with all of the lavish palace and everything vanished. So what did prayer say? Lead me from the unreal to the real. She led them out of this unreal cave, not a real cave, because it's fashioned by a Danav, Maya Danav. So lead me from the unreal to the real. They closed their eyes and they were transported. Lead me from darkness to light. The dark cave that was there, and darkness in another sense also. Really, none of them knew how that cave came. They are in the dark with regard to the magic that brings a cave. What magic brings a cave? I don't know. I am in the dark regarding that thing. So lead me from the darkness of this cave also to the light. Then from death unto immortality. They were about to die, from hunger and thirst and lost and no food, no water, nothing. She supplied them with everything and then transported them to get darshan of Sita ji, especially Hanumanji, which all of them will get sooner or later, but because of the work of Hanumanji. So, the darshan of Sita ji, Hanumanji himself tells, Kritakritya bhaya vai mata. I have become fulfilled. Means I got now your darshan and my life's journey is complete. Immortality. From death unto immortality. And this can be done only by somebody of the caliber of Swayam Prabha. And this is where her name becomes. And Tulsidaji doesn't write her name. But Tulsidaji also has just reason for not writing her name. Whenever he doesn't put the name of somebody in the Ramcharitmanas, there's always a good reason. The reason for not putting her name is in the name. Swayam Prabha means self-luminous, self-shining, self-revealing. So if something is self-revealing, like for example, do you have to reveal the sun? Can anybody here reveal the sun? No, the sun reveals itself, isn't it? Nobody can. The sun is self-luminous. It reveals itself. Nobody can reveal the sun. So Tulsidaji means to say, she is self-luminous, Swayam Prabha, Swayam Prakasha. Like that. Self-luminous. It means she is an enlightened being. And to lead the person from unreal, asat to sat, to lead the person from ignorance, darkness of ignorance, to the light of knowledge, to lead the person from sansara, which is fraught with death, to mukti. What is required is one who is Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prakash. This is how this story is about Vedanta. And from birth, she was of this nature. From birth, an ascetic by nature. And she is one of the only two women in Ramayana who were not married. Who was the other one, Yeah, Shabari was about to get married. Shabari was not married, that is true. But whose marriage was never fixed like that. The other one was Shurpanakha. In other versions of the Ramayana, Shurpanakha was never married. In some versions, she is married. And the two of them form the two poles of, you have, we started off by telling now they're pairs of opposites. So like they form the two poles of good and evil. But see, the asceticism of Swayam Prabha, which makes her the only woman ascetic in Ramayana, and unmarried, ascetic from birth, and enlightened soul who can also transport or take beings in the caliber of Hanumanji and Jamavant and Angad and all of them symbolically over the ocean of samsara. It means she is capable of taking anybody over the ocean of samsara. This is the ascetic in Swayam Prabha. No, you don't hear the story of Swayam Prabha ordinarily. Nobody tells because it is not very exciting. No dharam and even in Ram Leela also, there becomes, how you go play tassa for this? You can't play no tassa for Swayam Prabha. Oh, stop the tassa. Oh. It's an ascetic, you have to stop the tassa, isn't it? So all the ugly things which have crept in, which is part of Sanatana Dharma, which have crept into Sanatana Dharma, and that is the pushing out of women to the fringes of Sanatana Dharma, or the denial of women the right to do this, and all those ugly things which crept in. They do not belong to Sanatana Dharma, and which is perpetuated by people seeking their own self-interest. Means they crept in and people they can seek their self-interest by those things. Those things are totally unfounded. Totally unfounded. The fact that in Ramayana itself you have an enlightened soul in a female form, an ascetic of this caliber, is enough proof to demonstrate what is it teaching in Sanatana Dharma. Otherwise people say all sorts of things about women, this and women are supposed to sit down on Singhasan, and women are supposed to chant Vedic mantras, and I've heard too many things. So, and that is why this story also is not studied. The depth of the story of Swayam Prabha. Even if you study name of Swayam Prabha, is enough. Self-luminosity, Swayam Prakashatvam, which is given in the Upanishads, is the inherent quality of the absolute reality. Self-luminous. There is only one thing in the universe which is self-luminous. And she had that name. That is Brahman. See the status of the character in Ramayana. Nobody is given this name in Ramayana. There is no sage in Ramayana whose name is Swayam Prakasha. That is in the male form. Swayam Prabha. So, Hanumanji and all, they all come in, and all the steps demonstrates this one mantra which is so famous from the Vedas, Asato Ma Sadgamaya. And so the one who is capable of that is one who is Swayam Prabha, one who shines in and of themselves, do not need anything in the universe for shining. This is the idea. Okay, I know some deeper Vedanta there, but we have to tell. I can't just go through all of the stories of the Ramayana telling Mandodari was a good wife, Tara was a good wife, Ahalya was a good wife. Everything good wife, what do we do? There were no ascetics in Ramayana or what? Female ascetics. Amazing character. Okay. And Tulsidas also gives the other side, which you can compare. One extreme to the next. And I just told you the other extreme, Shurpanakha. She comes there even though seeing Bhagavan Ram sitting next to his wife. And she's smiling ear to ear. And she tells, I want to marry you. But Bhagavan said, but I'm married already. She said, I nothing. She rushed to kill Sitaji. I could solve that. Die nothing if you're married, I could solve that. Just now you'll be unmarried. Well, also, of course, you know Shurpanakha. In Trinidad, Shurpanakha was Suknakya. Suknakya is the Trini Bhojpurai's version of Shurpanakha. Suknakya. All people my age, you will know that when you went to see Ramlila long time, you're going to see Suknakya. Isn't it? This is the dress up Suknakya like a witch. And in those days, only men used to play Ramlila and no women. So some man in the village, he used to dress up like a witch with a tall hat and a broom. So that is the other opposite pole, extreme pole on this side, extreme pole on that side. If you want to find in Ramayana the extreme pole of a perfect ascetic in female form, the one and only in this Ramayana. Okay. All right. We now will stop there. I hope this thing is working right now. It says 8:5, correct? Okay. I don't want to shortchange you, you know. 8:05, and we will see tomorrow. No, I myself don't know who I'm going to see, which character tomorrow, you know. Today